Hello everyone. So welcome to our new lecture. Okay, we are learning chapter number 8, that is useful and harmful microorganisms. In the previous lecture, we have studied about one of the useful or one of the application of useful microorganism. Okay, that was in the production of antibiotics. So we have seen what is antibiotic. It is nothing but a carbon compound which is obtained from some bacteria and fungi for destroying or preventing the growth of harmful microorganisms, and they are called as antibiotics. Okay, so it is a type of medicine which will be used to destroy or prevent the growth of harmful microorganism in our body. Okay, now in this lecture we are going to see some harmful microorganisms. So let us start with the very first, that is fungi. Okay, now we all know that fungi is generally associated with the kingdom fungi. Okay, so the microorganisms which belong to this particular group, okay, they are kept in this particular kingdom which is called as fungi. Okay, now some of the fungi are not harmful, but mostly other fungi are very much harmful. Okay, and they are categorized as harmful microorganism. Now, what are the characteristics of fungi? Let us try to understand that. Microscopic spores of fungi are present in the air. If there is sufficient moisture, spores germinate on cotton fabric, gunny bags, leather, wooden items, etc. etc. सो ये जो फंगस के माइक्रोस्कोपिक स्पोर्स जो होते हैं वो एयर में प्रेजेंट होते हैं. ओके, पहले से एयर में मौजूद है बहुत सारे फंगाई के माइक्रोस्कोपिक स्पोर्स, और जैसे ही इन्हें एक सफिशिएंट अमाउंट में मॉइस्चर मतलब वाटर मिलेगा वो क्या होंगे, जर्मिनेट होंगे. मतलब क्या होगा, आपको रिप्रोडक्शन देखने मिलेगा इन फंगस का. ओके, तो जो मटेरियल्स है या फिर सब्सटेंसेस है, जो कॉटन फैब्रिक हो गया, गनी बैग्स हो गया, लेदर या फिर वुडन आइटम्स जो होते हैं, इनके ऊपर ये आसानी से ग्रो करते हैं ये फंगस. ओके, और ये क्या करते हैं, उस पर्टिकुलर सब्सटेंस को डिटोरिएट कर देते हैं, खराब कर देते हैं. ओके, now the fungal hyphae penetrate deep into the material to obtain nutrition and to reproduce. Okay, जो भी मटेरियल के ऊपर ये स्पोर्स जर्मिनेट होंगे वो क्या करेंगे, अपने हाइफे, ये जो इनका रूट नोड्यूल होता है, उनको वो क्या करते हैं, पेनिट्रेट कर देते हैं पर्टिकुलर सब्सटेंस में, मटेरियल में, और उससे वो लोग न्यूट्रिशन को एब्जॉर्ब करने की कोशिश करते हैं. एंड एज दे गेट द न्यूट्रिशन दे रिप्रोड्यूस देमसेल्व्स. ओके, now this causes material to wear and become weak. As a result, gunny bags, leather items like shoes, purses, belts, etc. on which fungi have grown do not last long. But items also get spoiled. Okay, so अगर किसी चीज़ के ऊपर फंगस लग गया है, इसका मतलब क्या है कि वो खराब हो जाता है, वो सब्सटेंस वीक हो जाता है. ओके, वो मटेरियल जो होगा वो यूज़ करने के लायक नहीं रहता. ओके, और फिर बहुत लंबे समय तक वो मटेरियल टिक नहीं पाता. ओके, मतलब पूरी तरीके से खराब हो जाता है, यूजलेस हो जाता है वो पर्टिकुलर मटेरियल. ओके, और ये किस वजह से होता है, फंगस की वजह से होता है जो उस मटेरियल के ऊपर ग्रो करता है. ओके, और जो लेदर के मटेरियल्स हैं, ओके, शूज़, पर्सेस, बेल्ट्स हो गया, या फिर कोई कॉटन का बैग आप लोग कंसिडर कर लो, कपड़े कंसिडर कर लो, या फिर वुडन आइटम्स भी कंसिडर कर लो आप लोग, वो सब क्या होते हैं, खराब हो सकते हैं फंगस से. Now, various species of fungi grow on food items like pickles, murabba, jam, sauce, chutney, etc. Okay, आप लोगों ने देखा रहेगा कि जो अचार होता है, पिकल होता है या फिर मुरब्बा होता है, अगर उसे बहुत लंबे समय के लिए हम लोग बंद रखेंगे, यूज़ नहीं करेंगे और ऐसे ही रखा हुआ रहेगा, तो वो क्या हो जाता है, ख़राब हो जाता है. उसके ऊपर ब्लैक कलर के स्पॉट्स या फिर वाइट कलर के स्पॉट्स. ओके, या फिर फंगस जो होता है वो उसके ऊपर ग्रो हो जाता है. इसका मतलब क्या हो गया कि वो जो फूड आइटम है वो ख़राब हो गया है. ओके, वो खराब कैसे हुआ है, फंगस जो है वो उसके ऊपर लग जाता है और वो उस पर्टिकुलर फूड आइटम को खराब कर देता है. नाउ दे यूज द न्यूट्रिएंट्स इन दिस फूड आइटम्स फॉर ग्रोथ एंड रिप्रोडक्शन. जो फंगस ग्रो होता है फूड आइटम्स के ऊपर, वो क्या करता है, अपने न्यूट्रिएशन के लिए, अपने एनर्जी के लिए वो उस फूड मटेरियल से, उस फूड से क्या करेगा, न्यूट्रिएंट्स को एब्जॉर्ब करेगा. ओके, जिसकी वजह से उस फंगस का ग्रो होगा और वो रिप्रोड्यूस कर सकता है अपने स्पेसीज को. Okay, now during this activity, fungi release mycotoxins, certain poisonous chemicals into the food, and thus food becomes poisonous. जब ये प्रोसेस कंटिन्यू होती है, ओके, या फिर ये जब प्रोसेस परफॉर्म करता है फंगस न्यूट्रिएंट्स को एब्जॉर्ब करने का फूड मटेरियल से, तो उस समय वो क्या करता है, कुछ पॉइजनस केमिकल जो है वो क्या करता है, रिलीज करता है वो फूड में, और वो फूड क्या हो जाता है, जहरीला हो जाता है, पॉइजनस हो जाता है, मतलब क्या है, एडिबल नहीं रहता। ओके, वी कैन नॉट कंज्यूम दैट फूड मटेरियल एनी मोर आफ्टर इट इज in contact with the fungus. Okay, so this is about one of the harmful microorganism, that is fungi. Now let us see one more example, and that is Clostridium. Okay, now it is also a kind of bacteria, and generally this type of bacteria is found in food materials and also in the alimentary canal of human beings and animals. Okay, now the bacteria which spoil cooked food are called Clostridium. Okay, this is the bacteria which will spoil the cooked food. So whatever food that we make, okay, it may get spoiled by this particular bacteria which is Clostridium. Now out of 100 different species of this bacterium, some are free living in the soil, whereas some live in the elemental canal of the humans and the animals. Okay, so there are almost 100 different species of these bacteria, Clostridium. Okay, some of the bacteria from this class are living in the soil, whereas some live in the elemental canal of humans and the animals. Okay, so this type of bacteria found in our body also. Okay, that is not good for our health. Now this bacteria are rod shaped and produce bottle shaped endospores in adverse conditions. So this bacteria are generally in a rod shaped, okay, and they produce some endospores. Okay, so these spores are going to germinate afterwards. So these spores are created which are in bottle shaped. Okay, now, one special characteristic of these bacteria is that they cannot withstand the normal oxygen level, the air, that is because they grow in the anaerobic conditions. Okay, now this type of bacteria, or this bacteria Clostridium, it is not going to survive in the presence of normal oxygen. Okay, that means in the presence of air. Okay, because all this microorganism which belongs to this class Clostridium, they are anaerobic in nature. Okay, they perform anaerobic respiration, they produce energy by this particular way, that is anaerobic, so they do not use oxygen for their survival. Okay, so they cannot live in presence of oxygen. So this is about the Clostridium. Now let us try to understand some other microorganisms which are responsible for lots of diseases that occurs in a body or in the body of any living organism. Okay. So let us see how different types of diseases are spread, okay, by different types of pathogens or microorganisms, and how we can prevent those diseases. Now first is AIDS. Okay, now AIDS, it is spread by HIV virus. Okay, the pathogen here is going to be a virus, and that virus is HIV virus, human immunovirus. Okay, now how it is spread? It may be spread through blood and semen of the infected person and milk of the mother suffering from AIDS. So the first mode of infection is through blood. Okay, if the person who is infected donates the blood to another person, okay, who is not infected by this HIV virus, then due to the donation of blood, this HIV virus is going to transmit to the healthy person by the infected person. Okay, then the second is semen of the infected person. So if sexual contact has been taken place between the two person, okay, and one of them is infected, then definitely other is going to be infected by the virus. Okay, now the third is the milk of the mother who is suffering from the AIDS. Okay, so if the offspring is feeded on the mother's milk, okay, and the mother is suffering from this particular virus, then the offspring is also going to be infected. Okay, how it can be prevented? The preventive measures are: safe sexual contact is needed, and avoid of reuse of needles and injections. So if the injections which are used on HIV infected person, okay, so those injections should not be used on any other healthy person. Then next is hepatitis. Also, it is also caused by some type of virus. Okay, there are virus A, B, and C and D. Okay, so what is the mode of infection of this disease? It is spread by contaminated water and food. Okay, so this is the mode of infection. And how we can prevent hepatitis? It can be prevented by clean and filtered water. Okay, whatever water we are going to use, it must be clean and filtered. Okay, and the food must be stored properly. Okay, we have to store the food properly so as to ensure that this pathogen should not get in contact with the food. Okay, then next is influenza. It is also spread by virus. Okay, H1N1 belongs to some virus. Okay, influenza, it is from the same category of the swine flu, but it is somewhat different from that. Okay, now the mode of infection is contact with the infected person. So if you are in contact with someone who had suffered from influenza, who is suffering from influenza, then you may get in contact with this particular virus or disease. Okay, now what are the preventive measures? Personal hygiene is needed, and we must avoid the contact with the person who is infected by influenza virus. Okay, next is measles and chickenpox. These are also caused by the virus. Okay, now virus is also a microbe. Okay, so all these are the microorganisms which are harmful to us. Okay, now how chickenpox or measles can be spread, or what is the mode of infection? It can be spread by the infected person, okay, itself. And the preventive measures are vaccination is needed. You must vaccinate yourself if you want to be safe from all these diseases. Okay, uncontaminated water. Do not use any water which is contaminated, and we must eat hygienic and clean food. Okay. Next is bird flu, which is caused by H7N9 virus. Okay, very important. Keep this in mind. This is the virus that will lead to blood flu, that is H7N9 virus. Okay, and swine flu, it is caused by H1N1 virus. Okay, H1N1 virus. Now the mode of infection is contact with the infected birds and animals. So if you are in contact with infected bird, you will get yourself in touch with this virus, that is H7N9 virus, and you will suffer from blood flu. And if you are in contact with the animals who are suffering from swine flu, then the infection will be transmitted to your body also. Okay, now preventive measures are personal hygiene is needed and properly cooked meat. Okay, so whatever meat you are going to consume, it must be cooked properly, it must be boiled properly, so that this virus will die if the particular, definitely the species or the animal is suffering from that disease. Next is dengue. Okay, we all know that it is spread by den 1 2 virus. Okay, by a dengue mosquito, that is Aedes aegypti. Okay, so this mosquito, if it bites you, Aedes aegypti, then you will suffer from dengue. And the virus which is associated with this disease is den 1 2 virus. Okay, it belongs to the class of flavivirus. Now, what are the preventive measures? Cleanliness of surrounding, preventing stagnation of water, and mosquito control. Okay, these are the preventive measures. Then next is pneumonia. It is also caused by a bacteria. Okay, the mode of infection are droplets spread in air by infected person. So if the infected person who is suffering from pneumonia, now then the infected person, okay, if this infected person has spitted on the road or anywhere else, the bacteria of the pneumonia, this disease, okay, it will be transmitted to the healthy person. Now the preventive measures are vaccination, okay, avoiding contact with infected person. These are some preventive measures to be safe from pneumonia. Next disease is leprosy. Now it is also caused by bacteria, and the mode of infection is long-term contact with the infected person. So if you are in contact with an infected person, it may be transmitted to you. The preventive measures are you have to avoid the contact with the infected person, and you must also avoid the contact with the materials, okay, which belongs to the infected person. Next is cholera. Okay, it is also caused by the bacteria. The mode of infection is contaminated food and water. Now the preventive measures are you have to eat clean food and you have to drink clean water. Okay, then malaria, we all know that it is spread by the mosquito bite. Okay, protozoan is responsible for this. Now, mosquito bite, definitely, if the malarial mosquito bites you, that is female anopheles mosquito, then you may suffer from this disease called as malaria. Now, this mosquito bites are the result of certain actions which we perform. Okay, if the water is stored in an unhygienic way, then these mosquitoes grow their eggs on there. Okay, they fertilize their eggs in such a water which is unclean. So we have to make sure that the cleanliness of the surrounding must be maintained and no stagnant water must be there. Okay, preventing the stagnation of water, and we have to control the mosquitoes. Okay, so we may use some insecticides or pesticides to control the mosquito. Next is dandruff, ringworm, or scabies. Now it is caused by a fungi. Okay, so we have dandruff or ringworm or scabies. This is all are caused by fungi. The mode of infection is contact with the infected person or his her belongings like clothes. Okay, so if you wear the clothes of an infected person or the person who is suffering from this dandruff, ringworm, or scabies, there are chances that you will suffer from these diseases too. Okay, now the preventive measures are we have to maintain the personal hygiene and we have to avoid the contact with the infected person. Okay, now these were the some diseases and we have seen how it can be prevented. Though these diseases are the point of detailed study, okay, a detailed study is needed to understand all these diseases and the pathogen clearly, but for your standard this is enough. We must know the name of disease properly and we must know the mode of infection and preventive measures which is required to control all these diseases. Now by this point we have completed our chapter. Okay, so homework for this lecture will be you have to complete the exercise of this chapter. Okay, this will be your homework. Now from the next lecture onward we are going to start our new chapter. Okay, until then, goodbye.